So welcome back everyone to the sixth lecture of quadratic equations and expression. So far we are done with the basics and the fundamentals. Now from here on what we are starting is uh, like more or less it is important, right? It is important from where you can expect the questions at frequent basis. Okay. So the topic that we are going to start today is transformation of roots. So you can keep the heading transformation transformation of roots. Now, basically, what are we discussing in this? So, see, imagine there is a quadratic equation, something like let's say x square plus 4x, and let's say 5 equals 0. And let's say that the roots are alpha and beta. Now, I'm asking you, can you form me a quadratic equation whose root is, let's say, 2 alpha plus 3 and 2 beta plus 3? So since we are done with the formation of quadratic equation, what is the first attempt you will do? You will try to find the sum, isn't it? So when you try to do the sum, this can be written as 2 times alpha plus beta plus 6. You can get alpha plus beta value from here, which is minus 4, and alpha beta value, which is equals 5. Then similarly, you can try to multiply 1 by 1, right? And then you can feed the values and you'll be able to get the required answers, right? Now, for the same problem, we have a little easier approach and which will be applicable for majority of the questions, right? And there is no need, to individually go and calculate some of the rows product of those. With slight modification, we'll be able to generate directly the equation itself. Okay. So this is the topic that we are going to discuss. I hope we are on the same page. We have a clarity that what is the objective that we are going to achieve in this particular lecture. Now, so far I've seen none of the videos I have been getting your response. So it's not that the comments I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward that I just get the update. I get the update that what is the current situation, whether are you facing any difficulties. In case if I've been able to follow it completely, there is no trouble at all, then it's perfectly fine. In case if you need any assistance from my end, please don't hesitate to let me know. Okay. So let us go here. Let's write the notes here first. Let alpha comma beta, let alpha comma beta be the roots of ax square plus bx plus c equals 0, where a is not equals to 0 and abc are constants. Then to form then to form a quadratic equation with with roots as with roots as let's say something like k1 alpha plus k2 by k3 alpha plus k4 and k1 beta plus k2 divided by k3 beta plus k4. So I hope you can get this what we are talking about. Alpha and beta are the roots of a given quadratic. What are you looking for? You are looking for to form a quadratic equation, right? Those roots are going to be of the form like linear by linear. See, when you say it is 2 alpha plus 3 form, so the denominator you can consider it to be 1. Or let's say it is 1 by 2 alpha plus 3, so numerator is 1. Or in case it is like 3 alpha plus 5 by 2 alpha plus 3, so that also is fine. We will be able to solve that problem. Okay. So I hope we are comfortable. So now what we will do is we will list down the algorithm for how to approach this problem. And then we will try to solve the problems with both the methods. The first method by finding sum and product, and by this method, and then we will try to see whether is there any deviation. In case not, which is more comfort wise, which is less calculated, and then we will try to choose the best method to proceed with the problem, right? So let us write the algorithm. First step, assume assume x equals k1 alpha plus k2 by k3 alpha plus k4. Step 2, find find alpha in terms of x. Third one, replace replace x replace x replace x with the our value in the original equation in the original equation. Fourth, obtained equation is the required obtained equation is the required equation. What it means, right? So what it means, see steps, let me explain, and when we are doing with the problem, easily you'll be able to understand. Or we can do one thing is that let us do a question itself, and then we'll try to follow this step by step. Okay, so let us assume, let me take a question. Question is, let alpha beta be the roots of 2x square plus 3x plus 5 equals 0. Then form a quadratic equation with the roots as 2 alpha plus 3, 2 beta plus 3. See, one thing you would have observed, that when I'm writing the terms in terms of alpha and beta, I'm trying to write symmetric, isn't it? So this is also a necessary condition, that when you want to form a quadratic equation where the roots which they are asking should be symmetric in terms of alpha and beta, means if I replace alpha with beta or beta with alpha, there should not be any change. In that situation, only the whole the algorithm will work. Okay. So now what is the step number 1? So step number 1 is solution. Step number 1, you assume that x equals 2 alpha plus 3. What is step number 2? Find alpha in terms of x. So what we got? X minus 3 by 2 equals alpha. What is step number 3? Replace the x with this value, the one which we have got. So the value that we have got, x minus 3 by 2, that we can replace in the original equation. So what you got? 2 into x minus 3 by 2 whole square plus 3 into x minus 3 by 2 and plus 5 equals 0. Simplify this. You will get something like 2 times x square plus 9 minus 6x by 4 and plus 3x minus 9 by 2 and plus 5 equals 0. So this will cancel 2 times. We can take LCM. So it will look like x square plus 9 minus 6x plus 3x minus 9 plus 10 equals 0. So ultimately we got x square. This 9 will get cancelled. Minus 6x, 3x will give you minus 3x and plus 10 equals 0. So this is the required answer that we have got. Now let us do the same process by M2, method 2, which is finding sum of the roots and product of the roots. So this is your, let's say, method number. I hope you are comfortable. Means what I did, I found x. I assume that this root is equal to x. Then I find alpha value in terms of x. And then I replaced that value in the original equation. And the required equation is going to be the, and the obtained equation is going to be the required equation. Now let us just verify the answer that we have got is same as what we will get by the conventional method, right? So M2, find some of the roots. We are trying to calculate some. So this will be like 2 alpha plus 3 plus 2 beta plus 3, which is 2 times alpha plus beta plus 6. What is alpha plus beta? Alpha plus beta we know from here is minus 3 by 2. And alpha beta also let's get it, which is 5 by 2. So what is S? S is 2 into minus 3 by 2 plus 6. This will get cancelled. And ultimately we get 3. What about the product? Product is 2 alpha plus 3 multiplied by 2 beta plus 3. When you multiply this, how much you got? 4 alpha beta plus 6 times alpha plus beta and plus 9. So 4 alpha beta is 5 by 2. 6 times alpha beta is, alpha plus beta is minus 3 by 2 and plus 9. So when you simplify, this will cancel 2 times. So we got 10. This will cancel 3 times. So we got minus 9 plus 9. This gets cancelled. Ultimately we got 10. So the quadratic is x square minus sum of the roots plus product of the roots equals 0. So you can clearly see the answer that we have got by the method number 1 and the answer that we have got by method number 2 are both are same, right? Now this is about the process that you have to follow. The question comes, why is it working, or what is the logic behind it? So I'm sure most of you would be wondering that how this is happening. Is it some sort of magic? So there is nothing like magic, right? It is all about the trick that you should be knowing. See, basically, what is the first step we did? We assumed that x equals this. Then we found alpha, isn't it? Alpha we got. Now, alpha will satisfy which equation? Alpha will satisfy which equation? Alpha will satisfy the equation of whose? He is the root. So, alpha is the root of which equation? First equation. Okay. Now, imagine if I say that I have made a clone of you. Okay, like you would have seen in childhood that duplicate movies like Anil Kapoor or Judva movie, Salman Khan. So all those are having like double roles are there, isn't it? So what happens basically that in place of him, the other person has gone and then they have not been able to figure it out, isn't it? So in a similar way, imagine if alpha is equal to this, like let's say we have made a clone of you. So now what will happen? Whenever it comes to the classes, whenever it comes to the lectures, whenever you comes to the some boarding sessions, what will you do? You will send your clone, isn't it? Okay, you go and attend it. Wherever the fun is there, let's say we have to go to a water park, or you have to go for some dinner party or some fun places. So what will you say? Okay, you stay back, I will go, isn't it? So here the same situation we have. Alpha is there and his clone is there. So alpha is on this side, clone is in terms of x. Alpha satisfies this. So in place of that alpha, what I can do, I can feed that value, isn't it? It's something like this. See, if x equals 2, so if I substitute 2, should satisfy that equation, isn't it? So the only thing that we have done is you can see the heading is transformation of roots, right? So roots are given of this form. We got alpha in terms of x. We know alpha satisfies this. In place of that, we kept that, guys. So when you will solve that equation, the equation that you have got in the final step, you will see that the roots are of similar. I mean, they are following that pattern, like in this example, 2 alpha plus 3. Okay. Just to give you more clarity, let me do another question. Okay. You will get this idea. See, the question is, let's say, question is, let alpha beta be the roots of ax square plus bx plus c equals 0 form a quadratic equation with the roots as 1 by alpha comma 1 by beta. The roots are 1 by alpha comma 1 by beta. See, without any hesitation, I mean without even any calculation and all, I can tell you the answer is going to be what? The answer is going to be cx square plus bx plus a equals 0. What I have done, I have just interchanged their position. I have just interchanged their position. It's not like some magic is there or I have memorized the answer. It is the logic that I have just discussed with you. So let's follow our algorithm. Step number 1, you write x equals 1 by alpha, the root which you want. Step 2, find alpha in terms of x. So you got alpha equals how much? 1 by x. Step 3, in the original equation, replace x with 1 by x. So you got a into 1 by x square, b into 1 by x plus c equals 0. You multiply both the sides by x square. So what you'll be getting? X square plus, sorry, a, so I can do a little down. So what you got? A plus bx plus cx square equals 0. And you can see that exactly the same answer I have written, isn't it? Is it okay? Now somebody would be wondering whether what you have got is right or wrong. I would say that you follow the procedure. You do the conventional method. So what is the conventional method says? Let me just change the color. Find what is the value of 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta, which you can write as alpha plus beta by alpha beta. This is minus b by a, this is c by a, which will give you minus b by c. And then you find 1 by alpha into 1 by beta. This is your sum and this is your product. So what you will get? You will get a by c. So quadratic is x square minus sum of the roots, which is minus b by c times x, and plus product, which is a by c equals 0. We can multiply with c. So we got how much? Cx square plus bx plus a equals 0. Now see here, I hope you can see from both the sides we're getting the same answer. Now few things I want to highlight here, which is the technical thing. Even if you ignore also, that's not a problem. But as a student preparing for JEE or competitive exams, you should be aware about it. See, first question is that how did we multiply by C both the sides? So here you have to understand that if C is 0, what I mean is that what if C is 0 in that situation? So you have to understand that C can't be 0, because if C is 0, you can see that the product of the root is 0. It means one of the root will be 0. If one of the root is 0, you are looking for a quadratic whose roots are 1 by 0. I hope you can understand the difficulty that will arise. If you say that C is 0, in that situation, what will happen? Your one of the root will be 0. Then you are asking me form a quadratic whose roots are 1 by 0, comma something, whatever it is. Right? So definitely C will not be 0. That's the reason we can multiply it. Is it okay? Similarly, in this equation, I said that we can multiply by x square. So if you multiply by x square, I'm cancelling this x square, isn't it? Technically, I should mention that you can cancel only when x is not equal to 0, isn't it? So already I've stated that x equals 0 cannot be the root, because you're looking for the roots reciprocal, like 1 by 0, isn't it? So since x is not 0, we are in a good position to cancel it. So these are some deep understanding. Okay. Even if you ignore, still you will reach to the correct answer, right? So now I would say that we can solve a couple of questions quickly related to this concept to test our understanding. Okay. So let's say the question is let alpha beta let alpha beta be the roots of ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. I mean, I should write basically roots of quadratic equation be roots of quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. Then form a quadratic equation then form a quadratic equation with the roots as, let's say the first one is for your practice. Okay. So let us do the first one, which is a pretty easy one. Quickly we'll be able to do it. So solution. First step, x equals alpha plus 2. So we got x minus 2 equals alpha, and then replace in the original equation. So what we got? A times x minus 2 whole square plus b times x minus 2 plus c equals 0. So when you open this, you'll be getting like ax square minus 2x plus 4a plus bx minus 2b plus c equals 0. So when you simplify this, it will look like ax square, and we'll get like b minus 2a times x and plus 4a minus 2b plus c equals 0. So this is the answer for the first question, right? In case if we want, we can do some more questions. I would say easy questions compared to this. We'll do one thing. Let's make this as third question. And let's say second question is whose roots are 2 alpha, 2 beta, just for the practice. Okay. So what we'll be doing is, you will write again x equals 2 alpha. So alpha equals how much? X by 2. So when we go roots wise, what will be getting? A times x by 2 whole square, b times x by 2, and plus c equals 0. So when you simplify this, you will get ax square by 4 plus bx by 2 plus c equals 0. Or ultimately, we will get like ax square plus 2bx plus 4c equals 0. Okay. So similar questions can be created if you understand the idea that I want to generate. In case if the roots are, let's say, alpha by 2, beta by 2, in that situation it will become 2x, isn't it? So now the equation will become 4x square plus 2bx plus c equals 0. Now let's come to the third question. Okay. So third question is again x equals alpha plus 1 by alpha minus 1. So those who know compound into dividend, you can directly get alpha in terms of x. In case you don't have a clarity over compound into dividend, no trouble with that. Just do the regular calculation and find alpha in terms of x. So from here, what we can get? Alpha x minus x equals alpha plus 1. Let's bring this alpha this side, x on this side. So what we will get? Alpha x minus alpha equals x plus 1. So alpha equals x plus 1 by x minus 1. So what is the required quadratic? Quadratic is a times x plus 1 by x minus 1 whole square plus b times x plus 1 by x minus 1 and plus c equals 0. So when you try to simplify this, it will look like a times x plus 1 whole square plus b times x plus 1 into x minus 1 and plus c times x minus 1 whole square equals 0. Now just open this, do the simplification, get x square terms together. That would be the required equation. In case if you want me to do, it will be like ax square plus 2x plus a, bx square minus b, and this will be like cx square minus 2cx plus c equals 0. So we got a plus b plus c, x square, x coefficient to be see from here to a and from here. This we can write like 2 times a minus cx, and constant wise we got a minus b plus c equals 0. So that is the required solution. So I hope we are thorough with this concept of transformation of roots, right? But now see, this can help us in the other way around also. It can help us in other way around also. What I mean is, imagine somebody is writing a question like this. Question is, let alpha beta be the roots of quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. Then find the roots of a times x plus 1 by x minus 1 whole square plus b times x plus 1 by x minus 1 and plus c equals 0. Can you get this clarity? I mean, the understanding of the question means what they're telling is that this time they're not asking that you form a quadratic equation whose roots are so and so and so and so. Here, the question is that they have said that alpha and beta are the roots of a quadratic, and then they're asking that form a quadratic, find the roots of another quadratic equation, right? So here, I think should not be much problem if you go with the conventional method. You can assume x plus 1 by x minus 1 as z, like in the fourth lecture or third lecture we did with 2 power 2x. We can take 2 power 2x as 2 power x as z, and then we form a quadratic, and then we solve, isn't it? Here, what you can do, here you can assume x plus 1 by x minus 1 as some z, and then you will see like you get az square plus bz plus c equals 0. Then when you try to solve, you will get z equals alpha and z equals beta, isn't it? And then you have to find x value. So you will write again x plus 1 by x minus 1 equals alpha, and then you will try to get the value of x. I hope you can get what I'm saying. What I mean is, I can take this quantity as z, isn't it? The one which I've shaded in yellow. So this quadratic will look like what? Az square plus bz plus c equals 0. And you know a quadratic ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. Now, how does the mathematics or the equation written over on the screen knows the difference between this x or z? Means if the equation is ax square plus bx plus c equals 0, and if the same ABC we are using and our equation is az square plus bz plus c equals 0, will there be any difference in the roots that we'll be getting? So answer is definitely no, because same logic. See, the logic is same. How does the mathematical equation will know whether it is x or z? If I swap x with z, now the first equation will look like az square plus bz plus c, and second equation will look like ax square plus bx plus c. So do you think the answer will swap? Answer has to be same, isn't it? So where we will reach? We will reach x plus 1 by x minus 1, which is your z equals alpha, right? And then it is a linear by linear equals alpha. You can solve that equation, and then you can try to get the value of x. Is it okay? Now, instead of doing that way, I can save some time. How? You can see like this equation, this entire equation, how it has been generated. How it has been generated. So it has been generated by replacing x with x plus 1 by x minus 1. It has been generated by replacing x with x plus 1 by x minus 1, isn't it? Instead of solving the entire thing, I can simply say what? When I'm trying to find the solution, I will directly write that x plus 1 by x minus 1 equals alpha. Means the roots of this equation, when you try to solve, right? I can write x plus 1 by x minus 1 equals alpha. Why? Because this equation has been generated by replacing x plus 1 by x minus 1. Please try to see forward and reverse direction. Okay, forward direction is like I'm over explaining it, because in this students finds difficult the confusion and all. So listen carefully again. Initial one is what? Quadratic is given, form a quadratic with the roots at so and so. So the same problem I have solved here, you can see, and I got this equation, and when I simplified, I got this equation. Is it okay? Now I'm trying to do the same reverse question here. Means in the question paper they have given this one, and they're asking find the roots. So what you can do, you can develop this understanding that this equation has been generated by replacing x with x plus 1 by x minus 1. So you designate x plus 1 by x minus 1 as alpha. Okay, because alpha only will satisfy this equation, isn't it? Or beta only will satisfy this equation. Now solve this. When you try to solve this, what will you be getting? You will get again same x plus 1 equals alpha x minus alpha. And this time your intent should be to find x in terms of alpha. And in that process, what we do, we try to find alpha in terms of x. Okay, so you can see that reverse. right? So bring this side. What you got? You got like x minus alpha x equals minus 1 minus alpha. So what is x? Minus 1 minus alpha by 1 minus alpha, which we can also write as alpha plus 1 by alpha minus 1. And you can see that the whole discussion started from here on. Can you get this point? Means if alpha beta are the roots of x square plus bx plus c equals 0, and you want to form a quadratic whose roots are alpha plus 1 by alpha minus 1, what we did, we replaced x with x plus 1 by x minus 1. In a similar way, a quadratic, when they gave me a times x plus 1 by x minus 1 whole square plus b times x plus 1 by x minus 1 plus c equals 0, and then they asked me find me the quadratic, find the roots of this. Instead of solving this equation, what I can do is I can simply write alpha equals x plus 1 by x minus 1, and then we can try to get x value in terms of alpha, right? So just to have more clarity and to build the confidence among you guys that you are getting the right answer, I would say that let us do a question. So question is, let alpha beta be the roots of quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. Then find the roots of a times x by x plus 1 whole square plus b times x by x plus 1 plus c equals 0. Okay. So how are you going to approach this question? Okay. So again, pause the video, solve it. At least for this question, definitely pause the video, solve it, and come and check your answer. Okay. So what is the solution? Solution is simple. Alpha equals x by x plus 1. And then from this we can write like alpha x plus alpha equals x. This guy this side. So we got alpha x minus x equals negative of alpha. So x equals alpha by 1 minus alpha. And then I can do one more thing. This you can write as alpha minus 1 times x equals negative of alpha, and from here you got x equals minus alpha by alpha minus 1. So you can change the polarity, and we got this is the required answer. So roots of this quadratic is going to be what? Alpha by 1 minus alpha comma beta by 1 minus beta. So I hope we are thorough with this, right? So let us see some more couple of questions related to this topic, because this is an important concept related to the solving the equations. It's not like it will be used only in quadratic. Here and there you will come across problems, and with the help of this you can easily solve a lot of questions in an easier way, right? So let us see one more question. Question is, let's say, again, first part I can copy it. Then this is important, so I'm just highlighting it. Form a quadratic equation whose roots are alpha square comma beta square. Let alpha beta be the roots of this, then form a quadratic equation whose roots are alpha square comma beta square. So how are you going to approach this question? Okay. So if you try to remember the discussion that we had, we said that the root should be of the type k1 alpha plus k2 by k3 alpha plus k4, like linear by linear. We did not have any discussion related to quadratic when the roots are having a power 2 or the roots are having a power 3. Again, here also it's very important that you can see the roots are alpha square beta square, right? Like if I replace alpha with beta and beta with alpha, you will get exactly the same thing, isn't it? So that symmetricity should be there. So again, when if in case nothing, in case if we don't know much about it, we can always follow the basic method. So let's call it as method number 1. We can always calculate what is sum of the roots, which is alpha square plus beta square, which we can write as alpha plus beta whole square minus 2 times alpha beta. So when you calculate the value, this will be like minus b by a whole square. So b square by a square minus 2 times C by A, which we can write as B square minus 2AC by A square. And when you try to calculate the product, it will be alpha square beta square, which we can write as alpha beta whole square, and which is C square by A square. So the quadratic is x square minus sum of the roots, which is B square minus 2AC x by A square, and plus product, which is C square by A square equals 0. So when you simplify this, it will look like A square x square minus of B square minus 2ACX and plus C square equals 0. I hope this should not be, there should not be any confusion about this method. Means, listen again what we did. So you just want a quadratic, find the sum, find the product. So for sum, alpha square plus beta square, how to calculate? I think by now in sleep also you can calculate how many was those number of times we have revised this concept. And then product again you can calculate, and then you can write the general quadratic x square minus sum of the root x plus product equals 0, right? Now there is another easier method to handle this same question. So listen very carefully. Step number method 2. What is method 2 is, you can assume again that x equals alpha square. You can assume that x equals alpha square. Then find alpha. So alpha we got how much? Root x. Alpha we got how much? Root x. Now again people will come like, we should take plus minus and all those things. But I'm saying you just go with, as of now, just the plus part, alpha equals root x. Okay. Now replace this alpha in the original equation. Okay. So since alpha is the root of the original equation, in place of alpha we can write this quantity. So what we got? A times root x whole square plus b root x plus c equals 0. So from here we got like x plus c plus b root x equals 0. And now the question here is quadratic, isn't it? But here we can see a square root is involved. So what we have to do, we have to get rid of this square root. So what we can do, we can send this quantity on the right side and we can square it again. So we can write like ax plus c equals minus b root x. When you square it, we got ax plus c whole square equals minus b root x whole square. So when you open this, what you will get? A square x square plus c square plus 2acx equals b square x. When you bring on the left hand side, you will get like a square x square minus b square x plus 2acx and plus c square equals 0. So ultimately what we got? A square x minus common. So b square minus 2acx and plus c square equals 0. You can see here, that we have got exactly the same answer. Okay. I hope we are clear on this. Right. So how this, this concept can help you in dealing with problems. So imagine that there is a quadrant. Let's say, there is an equation whose roots are alpha, beta, and gamma. Okay. Those roots are alpha, beta, and alpha, beta, and gamma. Sorry. The roots are alpha, beta, and gamma. And let's say that, they're asking what is the value of a cube plus b cube plus c cube. A cube plus b cube plus, no problem, we can restrict ourselves to a quadratic. So let us say that there is a equation whose roots are alpha and beta, and then they're asking what is the value of a cube plus b cube. So what option we have? One option is that we calculate a cube plus b cube. You have been taught how to calculate. Or in case if you want to show off the knowledge that you have, And if you want to make your impression, so what you can do, you can try to form a quadratic equation having the roots as alpha cube plus beta. Having the roots as alpha cube and beta. Can we do this? We can do this. We will assume that x equals uh, with the same process. Like here we have done x equals alpha square. So what we will write, x equals alpha cube. Then we'll find alpha. So we will get x to the power 1 by 3, and then we'll try to form that quadratic. So once you get the quadratic, that quadratic will have the roots as alpha cube comma beta cube, isn't it? And then what will happen? They are asking alpha cube plus beta cube, which is nothing but the sum of the roots, isn't it? So you can say that sum of the roots is minus b by a from that obtained equation, not from this equation, right? So we'll see the application of this in the next class. We have a very interesting question which is slightly calculative and involved. So see you guys in the next video. This topic is slightly tricky. So see it again and again in case if you're not getting a clarity in the very first attempt. And see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care. Thank you. Bye bye.